All of a sudden, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, December 11th. This is Finding the Advaita in A Course in Miracles, or finding the non-dual pointers, or sometimes absolutely direct statements of non-duality, which we will encounter in today's reading. We are on chapter 7, which is called The Extension of the Kingdom. And then we are on section 6, which is called Extending the Gift of Life. What does that mean, extending the gift of life? I wish Rana was here because Rana gave us a good example of extending the gift of life this morning in our gathering, or this afternoon. Yeah, she did, didn't she, Chuck?
That was awesome.
Yeah, she just really let it loose, and it was beautiful to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just settle in, and you can leave your camera on. Um, and just, isn't it interesting how it may have been more difficult a few years ago, or a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, when we decided to settle in to stop the mind. And there are still times when the mind is very active, but we recognize it and we know that it isn't really what we are in truth. There are just thoughts happening, but it's easier. We become more adept, more masterful at recognizing those thoughts and then sinking beneath those thoughts into the place of awareness. And in this place of awareness, we don't expect anything. We're just pausing and allowing. We're not really even pausing because we are entering the timeless space. And there isn't any space because there's nothing surrounding anything. It's all open. So sink in, expect nothing, but allow everything. And know I'm so grateful to be sharing this space with you, sharing these teachings, sharing our wisdom, our experience as human beings, apparently. And the impulse comes to gather. The quality of how we are together, how we talk, how we share. This is our gift to the world. And that gift is rediscovered each time we gather. Together we recognize beauty and we love what is beautiful. And that is always the truth. Allow conversation to arise out of every particle of your being. We are all alive with it. Welcome to this empty table, a cleared space where something new can happen. Let us take the hands of those we love and see what those hands become. And so we begin. So we are on Chapter 7, Section 6, Extending the Gift of Life, page 283. I will put that in the chat. So let's see here. Who would like to read today?
I'll read a paragraph.
Okay, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. And Mel wants to read. Good. Anybody else? Julie, thank you. And Patricia will read. Okay, let's see how we go. Go there. Thank you so much. So this first paragraph, as Chuck reads it, keep in mind, hi, Carol. Keep in mind that this paragraph in many ways is an invitation to experiment and to investigate. Part of the non-dual teachings really involve experimenting and investigating what is true. So after Chuck reads this, I'll give us some pointers on this. But the reason that it's important to investigate is because investigation respects both the mind as a tool for investigating, and it also offers the opportunity to experience whether the teaching is true or not. So let's Chuck read, and then we'll talk about how we can experiment with this. So Chuck is going to take us off on paragraph 1, which is at the top of page 283.
One that starts with whenever.
Yes, please, Chuck.
Whenever you deny a blessing to a brother, you will feel deprived. This is because denial is as total as love. It is impossible to deny part of the sonship as it is to love it in part. Nor, did I say that right?
You'd got it right.
Nor is it possible to love it totally at times. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. Remember a very early lesson. Never underestimate the power of denial. It is no power in itself, but you can give it the power of your mind, whose power is without limit of any kind. If you use it to deny reality, reality is gone for you. Oh,
There's a lot in there.
there sure is.
A lot in there. So I'm going to call on Mel, but before I do, I just want to point some stuff out. So how is this an invitation to experiment? It's right there in the first sentence. Whenever you deny a blessing to a brother or a sister, and that doesn't just mean a human brother or a human sister. Whenever you deny a blessing, you will feel deprived. Now, I want to ask, is that true? How can we know that that's true? How can we be sure if that's true? The only way is to accept the invitation and watch what happens when you deny a blessing. First of all, notice you've denied the blessing, and then notice, how does it feel? And it may take some time before you really pick up on this, but this is complete investigation, and it uses the mind and experience as a way to test whether this teaching is true or not. You can think back on the past when you've denied a blessing, and you can see how you felt then. But the experiment here is, how do you feel? How do you feel? And Cindy just says the guide's definition of blessing is to acknowledge the divinity of the other. And that's a very good way of understanding what that denial is.
Thanks for defining that. I was wondering.
Yes. So I was going to say, what does a blessing look like? That's right. The next thing in my notes, it's denying the divinity. And how do you identify the sense of being deprived? How do you feel deprived? What is it when you deny the divinity of another? What does that feeling of deprivation in you feel like? Right? So I'm gonna call on Mel. We'll talk about this, and then there's a second point in here that I want to make sure we cover. So Mel,
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. And that, when you're reading that, just made me think of Rana's share earlier, where she talked about, just like on elevators, being kind and speaking to somebody, how even though, sometimes you get rebuffed and people don't respond, but still, that subtly that message got sent, even if it wasn't obviously accepted. And how much, and even though people might, think you're strange, but still, do it anyway, sort of thing. It's just because it so reassures your own divinity and seeing it in all others around you. So I just wanted to.
I so thank you for that, and you're actually you've moved us ahead in this lesson, because that is extending the gift of life.
Mm.
That is extending the gift of life. And when Rana described it to us in our gathering, didn't we all feel it? So for those who weren't here, Carol, whoever wasn't here, Rana is getting some treatments for an illness that she has, and she was in getting some radiation treatments, and she was being walked by the nurse down to have the imaging done. And the nurse stopped her in the hallway and said, "You know, you are so nice. You're such a kind person." And
Mm.
Rana shared with us that she loves being nice all her life. How wonderful, and her instinct and her impulse, which we all have, which is to extend our love outward and to just be nice. And yet we're told over and over again that it's foolish to do that, that it's embarrassing, that we don't need to do that. And yet we all appreciate it. We all appreciate it. So I I thank you, Mel, for that. And I encourage us to look at how it feels when we deny that blessing within ourselves. For example, when we're in the grocery store and we think that person could use a smile, but our day's been too busy, and so we walk by and we don't extend it. We choose in that moment not to extend it. And that's denying a blessing to yourself. And when we do extend it, that can change our whole shopping trip. Right? So that is a direct experience of this lesson. And the second point here in this paragraph, which I love, is you cannot be totally committed sometimes. That is like right between the eyes, people. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. This is such a non-dual statement. Right? You're all in. You're all in. You never are not all in. You don't even have to know you're all in. You are totally committed. And it doesn't take the egoic mind or the personal mind to justify or verify that. You are totally committed. But it's really nice when you know it and you accept it. And the second part of that is never underestimate the power of denial. And I want to open that up to anyone who has anything to say about that. Never underestimate the power of denial. I can see
I
Patricia.
don't know about denial. And I don't know if this is ego. I'll be pat, but this triggered an experience that I had some time ago, and I'm kind of relating it to the concept that I didn't have at that time. I was in 12-step recovery by then, but I was in Cleveland and I was in a little park area, and I got uh, a guy was presenting himself to me looking for some money. I got approached by a guy that was, I guess, homeless or whatever, and he started requesting a bunch of stuff, and he was giving me the story. This was a long time ago. It was a few years ago, so I don't remember all the words that were said. But I ended up, I didn't have anything to really give him, and but I sat and I listened to him for a while. I let him tell his story and his thing, and I think I was being gentle and kind with him. But after I got done, I just said, "I'm sorry. I would really like to help you, but I got grandkids that I'm taking care of, and I don't have anything right now." But what he did was he thanked me for treating him like a human, for listening to him, and he said he knew that whatever he gave me, more a blessing than I gave him, by acknowledging that he felt like I treated him like a person. All that really caught me off guard. Now, okay, it seems like it kind of fits what we're doing here, and I hope I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but just explain an experience that I had that seems to validate all this.
I think that applies here, Chuck, and I really appreciate your sharing that.
I don't know about the denial part. I don't.
Well, let's look at what was denied. What did you deny?
Well, I actually denied giving him any financial assistance, if that's what you call by denial.
But you denied something else too. You denied that money was the only thing you could give him.
Oh,
You
yeah,
you denied that.
Thank you.
And he recognized it.
He did it more than I did. He recognized. That's what blew me away.
It's like a double negative making a positive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, May. Yes. The power of denial. The power of saying the ego is not real. The power of denying fear. The power of denying this world's laws. Right? The power of denying separation. Right? That is a huge power. And that's the power of denial that's being talked about here. Saying no to no, which is what May just perfectly explained. Patricia, you had your hand up. Yeah.
Yes, I was also thinking about acceptance. Oh my goodness, I accept the fact that I just did blah, blah, blah. Okay. it's the willingness to go inside and take a look.
Yeah. Yeah. Carol's reaching for it. I can see. Come on, come on.
Okay, yes. Yay, I'm unmuted. Okay, Patricia, love what you just said as well, because in my experience, sometimes like choosing doesn't happen. If I end up being short with somebody, or I say the wrong thing, or I feel irritated, it happens. And then after the fact, it's noticed. I take absolutely no responsibility for that. I don't care how arrogant that sounds, because whatever is happening, and it's habitual. And it's nothing to do with me. It's to do with the personality. It's to do with the conditioning. But if that's recognized, then, and if an emotion or an expression or a desire or a feeling of dispeace comes up, then there may be a going forward with, I really feel bad that I said that, or I didn't mean to hurt you, or whatever, an acknowledgement. But in the moments of these things happening, even the thought, oh, you know what, I think I'm just gonna, that it still is something that arises.
I'm going to challenge you on that.
Mm-hmm.
When I deny the divinity of another, I am denying myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it never feels good to deny myself. That's an experiment that I
Yeah.
can investigate. So it doesn't just happen that I choose to deny the divinity of someone. It's because I've forgotten what I am and what they are. Now,
Yes.
we do have choices at this level. We have choices. In truth, we really don't, right?
Right.
In truth, we don't. And so you are right. Things just happen. Thoughts pop in, situations arise, there are responses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we learn through experimentation not to deny our own divinity because we
We
have,
can to a point, but every seemingly different well, the one thing experiences through all these different mechanisms of conditioning. And that is why there seems to be such a contrast and such a difficulty for the mind system to recognize that all is different, but it's all the same thing and it's all okay. So it's going to present differently. I mean, if we want to believe the stories of the masters in this dream of humanity that, lose their cool or flip out on someone or do whatever, they're still fully enlightened. So it's not about becoming a perfect person, because there isn't a perfect person. There isn't even really that. There's just conditioning that happens in reality. It's just stuff happening. And if that wasn't the case, then I don't even know why there would be and I'm saying that's just from my experience, and I don't even know what that or where that comes from, but why there's such a knowing that what love and compassion and divinity is the allowance of all that appears, including someone freaking out on apparently me or whatever.
But the freaking out itself is a saying no to what is.
But what I'm saying is, if something freaks out in this direction, yeah, that's what happened. There's something that is saying no. That's fine. That's what's happening from seemingly on that end.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. I don't disagree with you, and I appreciate your clarifying that it is all just happening. I think we'll talk more about this as we move through. So let's hold Carol's, Carol's teaching about this subject, and let's keep moving and see whether we can refine it. Let's just refine it a little bit. Lonnie, you're up next.
I'm a fish flapping on the shore because I wanted to jump back in the water as soon as I came out, and I couldn't friggin' get back in the water.
I know that feeling.
There's this knowing within that for this being that, and maybe it's just because of how we walk at this time, that we can trust what comes through, can trust what comes out. And so with that, and leading up to just kind of being able to trust that, there were times when, because based on other people in life with me, I have no tact, which I find kind of enjoyable. But leading up to this, there would be things that would be said to people, and not in anger or hate, truly in passion sometimes, or in frustration, but never anger and hate. And I would want to grab it back in as soon as it came out because I could see the hurt. And it was a really interesting lesson because 9 times out of 10, that person came back and thanked me for just telling the truth and not prettying it up. And for me, it was turning back into myself to say, oh, it works that way. And it was that reminder again and again and again that love does not always look pretty, pink, soft, and pillowy.
That's right.
Sometimes love is a size 11 foot going up your ass.
That's right.
Yep. Which God has had to do to me several times. So
Yep.
I don't know that that's what I put my hand up to say, but that's what's said.
Well, I think no, it's much appreciated. I like that. This is an interesting discussion. And I'm going to go back to walking and chewing gum at the same time, right? I'm just going to go back to saying that. And Mel is up to read the second paragraph, and the second paragraph is a direct non-dual teaching and gets right to what Carol was saying. So let's read through that and then talk about it.
Okay. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. That is why denying any part of it means you have lost awareness of all of it. This is the negative side of the law as it operates in this world. But denial is a defense, and so it is as capable of being used positively as it is of being used destructively. Used negatively, it will be destructive because it will be used for attack. But in the service of the Holy Spirit, the law becomes a beneficent becomes as beneficent as all the laws of God. Stated positively, the law requires you only to recognize part of reality to appreciate all of it. Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You will never be able to exclude yourself from what you project or extend.
All right. So reality cannot be partially appreciated. And this is where I really appreciate Carol's statement. What is what is, right? Carol reminds us that all the time. It just is, right? And so when I deny what is, that I'm free to do that, but I'm also free to deny my denial of what is. And that opens us up to flow. When I deny my denial of what is, I am in flow with what is. I haven't blocked it or stopped it, right? I'm moving with it. I'm allowing myself to become a more fluid avatar of Source, which is just moving through this awareness, right? Source wants to move through its own awareness as extended in this apparently separate being as smoothly and openly and freely as it can. And so when I begin to recognize that I am denying what is, I can deny that denial. And that's what this is saying, right? So reality cannot be partially appreciated. And I see your hand, Lonnie, but I want to talk a little bit about what reality is. What is reality, right? Now, the way that A Course in Miracles defines reality is, it says, spirit is a state of grace forever. Your reality is only spirit. Spirit is a state of grace forever. Your reality is only spirit. Therefore, you are in a state of grace forever. You are always spirit, you are always in reality, and you are always in a state of grace. I want to just go a little bit further about what reality is. We've talked about this so many times, but I just want to anchor this a little bit more. Reality is forever, right? It is forever. It is changeless. It is independent of change. That's what reality is. Therefore, it is not the body, because the body changes. It is not the senses, because the senses change. They come and go. Nor is it emotion or thought, because emotions change and thoughts change. Reality is spirit. It is formless. It is changeless, and it's beyond the perception of the body, right? It supersedes the body's perception. It comes before the body's perception. It is what exists forever in a state of grace before the body and before the body perceives. What is that? Can we know reality and appreciate reality in this dream? And the answer is yes. Yes. And Rupert Spira takes us there because he says to us, awareness, the state of simple awareness, is the most fundamental aspect of experience, and that is your being. So I'm just going to read a little bit and then we'll give it over to Lonnie. But nothing that you are aware of that you are aware of. I am aware of being upset. I am aware of being cold. I am aware of these thoughts. I am aware of this moment in time. Nothing that you are aware of is fundamental to experience. Anything that begins, lasts for a while, and disappears cannot be fundamental to experience. It is by definition temporary. Right? That means the ego and the universe itself is not fundamental. Reality is fundamental. It is changeless and fundamental. So what is that? What is this? It is your awareness of being aware. That is your reality. It is so close and so simple. It is always the same. There's only one element of experience that remains consistently present throughout all of the different changing experiences that we have. And that is the fact of being aware or awareness itself. So awareness never changes. It's the awareness with which you knew your experience as a 5-year-old, and that's identical to the awareness with which you know this current experience. It has never changed. So Spira says, awareness modulates itself in all forms of experience. In other words, it experiences all the forms of experience that we have. But it itself is never changed by the changing experience. What is it within each of us that is the same and that notices all the changing experience, but itself is never changed by it? That is reality. That is spirit. That is the I am, and it's the same I am that God said, I am that I am. It's the same thing. So I just want as we read this, we're on reality cannot be partly appreciated. So reality does not change. It is the awareness with which all change is contained and noticed. Right? Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You will never be able to exclude yourself from what you extend or project. You will never be able to exclude your awareness from what you extend or project. You are always aware of what you are extending or what you are projecting. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Any questions about that? Have I gone on too long? Is it too obvious? Okay. Can you sense into what is being said here in paragraph 2? Okay. So well, and so I want to just read one other thing. It says, and I'm looking at sentence 8 in paragraph 2. In the service of the Holy Spirit, the law becomes as beneficent as all of the laws of God. So what does that mean? Being used in service of the Holy Spirit. That means being used as awareness, knowing itself, holy awareness, wholly knowing itself, the spirit that it is, right? Your reality is only spirit. You are the Holy Spirit. Right? You have always been. You will never not be the Holy Spirit. So I want to turn it over to Lonnie. If Lonnie can remember what it was she was just going to say, yes.
No, I don't remember what I was going to say, but what you just said now, that's for me what that holy, holy means. Knowing, I mean, I can only speak from this being, and it is being in service in every way, shape, or form that this being exists to the Holy Spirit, to the divine, you know. And it's in that way too, which is, I think, part of what I was going to say before, because there's just these real simple things that keep being repeated. God is all is God, and all means all. From all the beautiful, shiny, pink, pretty, puffy stuff to all the smelly, fucked up little crumbly crap. All of it is God. All of it, without exclusion. And that just is.
Yes,
And
it
in
is.
that way too, there's no mistake. I see I walk right now with an awareness of no possibility for mistake. Because I have great faith that no matter what comes, it is for me and for me to learn for through and in and all of that. And whatever consequences come beyond that, those too are a part of the walk. Because here's the thing, I'm still going to the same damn place I was going to end up, or at least this body is going to the same place it was going to end up anyway. But it's just about what route I choose to take. And I've just decided to stop friggin' pushing back. I'm tired.
And, and yeah, sometimes that's what it takes is being tired. And
Mhm.
and I don't want to put Miss May Nolan on the spot because Miss May, I have noticed that you've just been in tears of joy or tears of something all day long. And I just want to give you the opportunity to express or to say, I'll wait some other time, but just want to give you the opportunity to express.
Yeah, it's like this just overflow. I feel like I've been crying like a year's worth of like tears today. I don't know. But like I know it's all true, but it's still, and yet there's this sense of being like tired or like wanting to know where to go next. Because to be a container for all of this and still be like in the real world, in the world of like everything that's been going on, it's a lot to hold. But I know that it's my job to hold it. But I'm just, I feel like I'm craving for a way to transform it that feels more like, I don't know. But I know that it's in the little moments. But I still feel like something is, I don't know, it's almost like the container for, or the vessel from which I want to let this feeling and extend this energy to my fellows is like, I don't know where to go. But yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at today. But I guess that's it. This lesson is right on target.
So thank you very much for that. I'm going to do a carol here and just ask, like, who is the container? May.
It's everything. It's everything. I feel like I'm talking to the whole planet like all the time. That's what we're all doing. That's what we're all doing.
Are you doing the best you can? My
I'd like
sense
to
is
think so. I think at the right amounts, the perfect amounts, like however Paul says it.
in the
Yeah,
perfect amounts for your evolution. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. For your highest evolution. Yes. Yeah. I
But I
think,
think what Sonia was saying, like the tears are part of it. They're part of the cleansing.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's moving it. So I want,
Sometimes you just got to pick up your feet and ride it,
and you don't know. You don't know.
but you can trust the divine.
Yeah. So reality cannot be partially appreciated. And stated positively, the law requires you only to recognize part of reality to appreciate all of it. So if I, as May or as Amy, recognize that I am holy and whole, and everything is holy and whole, I have done my part. I don't need to work any more than that. I just need to open to whatever happens next, right? In that instant, I've done everything I need to do. And then I need to just let go. I don't need to measure what I've done or see if it's working or look somewhere else to see what the result has been. Nothing. I am completely free. And this is where Carol is right. She's right all the time. But what I want to just emphasize, no, okay, not all the time. We're not all right all the time. But Carol's constantly bringing us back, and Mel does this too. There is no person who is doing anything. There is no personality. That is a really tough one. But if reality is unchanging and constant, then the personality, which changes all the time on a whim, is the same one day, different the next day, that cannot be reality. The personality is not reality. And as Carol said, things happen. I don't cause them to happen. Certainly the personality doesn't. Things arise, they move. It is source in movement. All thoughts just arise in our minds. The personality doesn't think them. They drop in. And the personality takes them up so quickly and claims them so quickly and goes down that path and says, I'm a separate person and I have this separate thought and I have to do something with it. Deny that. That is a good use of denial. Right? There is no egoic personality. It is not real. We are always the one experiencing the movement of source through the awareness that we are. And in that awareness, we can seem to choose to deny our denial, but it's actually awareness itself choosing to deny the denial. Right? So friggin' relax about it. If you notice that you have chosen to deny the denial and it makes you happier, good, ka-ching, put that in your bank account. That is yours for free. That is spiritual money for you in your bank account. But the personality doesn't choose to deny the denial. It is source bringing itself back to itself. Right? That's why this course is both progressive and non-dual. These 2 paragraphs that we have just read are both progressive and non-dual at the same time. And that's why this course works at a multidimensional level. If you are still through source, if source is still expressing itself through you as a separate person, but it is drawing you back as that seemingly separate person into itself, and you're on a point of being drawn back to source as source, where this progressive path makes more sense and resonates with you, go for it. Don't judge yourself as being, well, I'm still on the progressive path. I don't get that. Deny that denial of yourself. If it makes sense for you to remind yourself, to seem to remind yourself that the other person in front of you is divine, then have a field day with it. Allow it. If you notice that it makes you feel better because you're experimenting with it, you're using your mind to heal your mind. Do it. Notice that the other person is divine and treat them that way. And notice how you feel. And you will feel better for it because oneness always appreciates itself. Right? Always. You cannot fail at that. And so when we say, I'm not thinking my thoughts, I don't have any thoughts, there's no me, there's no Amy, that is true at the level of ultimate reality. That is absolutely true. And Carol and Mel bring us back to that truth and they ground us in it all the time. But it is also true that in this apparent reality, in this dream, it is helpful to remember that the other is divine and to notice how it feels. It feels good because it is good. And to revel in that, right? Take a bath in that. There's nothing wrong with it, right? That gets back to Rana's very lesson from this morning. It feels good to express goodness, right? It feels good to share and extend love because that's what we are, right? So this comes full circle.
Reminds me of something. Kindness works.
Kindness works.
That's it.
It works. It works. All right. I think Julie's up next. Julie, do you want to read
Sure.
paragraph 3?
All right. When a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours. You need the blessing you can offer him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. What you deny you lack, not because it is lacking, but because you have denied it in another, and therefore are not aware of it in you. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be determines what you think you are. Therefore, what you want to be determines every response you make.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to read that again. And where you see it very faintly underlined, emphasize it.
Oh, okay. The whole thing again?
Yep.
All right. When a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours.
Nope.
You,
His need is yours. His need is yours.
oh, yeah, now I see it. Okay. Oh, okay. You need the blessing you can offer him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it.
Except by giving it. There
Man,
is
I can't
no
see that.
way for you to have it except by giving it.
This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. I saw that one. What you deny you lack, not because it is lacking, but because you have denied it in another, and therefore are not aware of it in you. In you, okay. So, but not aware of it in you. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be determines what you think you are. Therefore, what you want to be determines every response you make. Oh,
Thank you. Every
yeah,
response you make is determined by what you think you are. By what you think you are, right? What
interesting.
you want to be determines what you think you are. Therefore, what you want to be determines every response you make. Do you see the circle here? This paragraph tells us exactly how to live in the dream, right? And so remember that the denial of the brother, sister, or other, or the denial of the moment as it is arising, is the denial of the divine, right? So if I deny that something that arises in my awareness, if I say no to it, I am denying a brother. And a moment can be a brother, right? Give the moment its due by accepting it as it is. It comes from God. As Carol reminds us, every moment, everything without exception comes from Source, from the Absolute, the indivisible, infinite Absolute. It comes from that into our awareness. And we only have two choices. We can either resist it or accept it. And this coming full circle in this lesson, when we accept it and move with it, we have an experiment to make. Do we feel better about it or do we feel worse about it? And we're going to come back next week and we're going to reread this paragraph and talk about it a little bit more. This is heavy duty stuff. In some ways, it's very direct and so simple. And yet, here we are. And so here we are. Patricia, you going to close us out?
Accepting what is.
Accepting what
Period.
is.
Period. Dot the end. That's what it's all saying, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
What it's all saying. Yep. Love yourself no matter what. It's also saying that. Love yourself no matter what. No matter what. If you are not loving yourself, then think again. Right? Just think again. And with that, yep, Lonnie, Cindy's left us, so we'll go. Lonnie, you got to unmute.
It's the only way that you can love anything and anyone else,
Yeah.
is in allowing the energy of the divine that flows through you as you to love you and allowing that to emit forward into others.
Right. That's right.
It has to start with us.
Yeah, it does. And I want to say to May, God bless your beautiful soul. God bless you. You are young, all of us are old. We have learned through the school of hard knocks. You are young and you know more at your age than most of us knew 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You're way ahead of us. So don't castigate yourself for not being at peace all the time, right? Love yourself. We totally love you. We get you. We understand, right? Completely. Really.
And that you walk in this accompaniment is a blessing for all who engage it.
Exactly right.
And we all have experienced what you're feeling
Yes.
because we're all you.
Yes.
We are. We are. Yeah. So come, whoever you are, wanderer, fire worshiper, lover of leaving. This is not a caravan of despair. Far from it. It doesn't matter that you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Still come, and yet again. So go out there, break your vows. That's the only way you learn. Break them as often as you need to. Right? Forgive yourself. Love yourself. You are spirit. That is the reality of your being. There is nothing else. Right? You learn that you're spirit by breaking your vows, right? It's part of the path. So we'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for Paul Seligan, our book group. Thank you all for being here. I love you
Have a
all.
nice one. Love y'all.
Thank you.